Hey, welcome everybody. We are live. And something's going on with my sound here. There it goes. We are
That's the internet.
Technical difficulties right off the bat. Hey, Darth Benicia here with Random Hero 83. Say hi, Random.
Hi, Random.
Whoops,
And for those of you, one of you that might, watching on my side, hello to you too. Say hi, Darth.
Hello, randoms people.
Sound a bit like Barry White. My headphones are.
Right on.
Hello, randoms people.
Show you right.
Turn off the lights, light a candle. I should quit singing.
Yes. You're as bad as I am, and
I think I'm worse, sir.
I know I am no good. Speaking of singing and singers, I'm gonna. If I do this, it's gonna.
He heard you.
Yep, he heard me.
He's singing away.
There we go. Tom Petty passed away this week.
And sad note from the beginning.
We always do this.
I know. Thanks for the heads up, though.
Tom Petty passed away. Whoa! There we go again with the crazy music that just pops up whenever it wants to. Love the internet. Tom Petty, the dynamic and iconic frontman who led the band The Heartbreakers, died Monday of the ripe young age of 66. Tom Petty's
Too soon.
Death was confirmed by his lifetime manager of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So on behalf of the family, this is a statement that he put out. On behalf of the Tom Petty family, we are devastated to announce the untimely death of our father, husband, brother, leader, and friend, Tom Petty. He suffered cardiac arrest at his home in Malibu in the early hours of the morning and was taken to UCLA Medical Center, but could not be revived. He died peacefully at 9:40 Pacific time, surrounded by family, his bandmates, and friends.
It's sad.
It's very sad.
My dad was in a band whenever I was growing up, and one of the bands that he listened to a lot was Tom Petty. And so I grew up listening to Tom Petty at first because I was forced to, and then just because I started to have an appreciation for music. And as I got older and kept listening to bands from when I was younger, they were mostly metal, like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, stuff like that. But Tom Petty was always someone that I went back to and listened to, and my wife really liked him too, or at least whenever we were playing pool.
I'm definitely a Petty fan. Have been for.
Are you a heartbreaker?
No, I could maybe try to fracture a heart. That's about it. YouTube chat is up on my side. Let's see if the.
I guess I could pull that up. Yeah.
Chat is up on my side. Just wanted to say welcome to everybody. There's a Rolling Stone with from 1980 with Tom Petty on the cover. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Now it's just the Heartbreakers.
The Heartbroken.
From what I understand, from news reports, that at first he had a cardiac issue and they rushed him to the hospital, and they brought him back, and he still wasn't sustainable, and he passed away. And that has brought up this big AED, the defibrillators in your household. That's kind of brought up a debate on that, because what the hospital and the paramedics are saying, if they would have had one, the family would have had one there, they may have been able to sustain him and keep him going. And I don't know where that came from. Holy cow!
Whoa,
there it goes again.
See that?
Wow.
You're getting spammed here.
I'm getting spammed big time. Well, let's get out of that.
That's amazing.
It's got some bass though. I give it a 4. I can't really dance to it, but it sounded pretty cool. So anyway, it sparked some debate about having AEDs in people's homes, the cardiac defibrillators, in actually having them in people's homes. So that might be the next big thing. Who knows? Nobody knows.
So we were going to be the next big thing.
We're already kind of big. I mean, I work out.
Don't even. Huge. Yeah, it's not.
go with some happy news. Or is there any happy news?
Is there anything happy going on right now?
You know what? Let's just Google happy news and see what we come up with. Happy news.
Oh, hey, put on safe search.
5 October. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Good news, inspiring, positive stories. Oh, there's always something about a dog. Cutest dog title: dog who works at post office is official stamp licker. That is awesome.
That's funny. I got a private that used to work for me who is also an official stamp. No, that's window licker.
Yeah, there's big difference.
Sorry, big difference.
So,
Not quite as happy.
let's see what is under the inspiring section. Well, since lately there's been this news about Nazis and racism and stuff like that in the news. An unlikely friendship spurs between former neo-Nazi to remove his swastika tattoos. Michael Kent never thought he would live to see the day where he got his swastika tattoos covered up, but that was before he met Tiffany Whitler. Guess what color Michael is? I'm
going to go with
tone.
white.
Very good. And
Caucasian of descent.
and guess what color Miss Whitler is, or whiter? It's Witter. W-H-I-T-T-I-E-R. Witter.
I'm going to say she's of African American descent.
She is. She has a dark skin. How about that?
She has a tan.
Mr. Kent is a 38-year-old father of two. How would you like to go to the pool with your kids? You take your kids to the pool with their friends. You take off your shirt and you got a big swastika on your.
Or, yeah, like just the awkwardness of Donuts with Dad Day at their preschool.
True, but hopefully they're not teaching kids hate. But anyway, let me back into the article. He spent most of his
social
life.
Media.
Yeah, exactly. He spent most of his life as a violent white supremacist and a group in Arizona. During his time in prison, of course, he received 2 swastika tattoos to signify his views, and that also shows their gang relationships. I would like to say that I'm an expert because I've watched a lot of those prison films.
Locked up shows.
Yes, exactly. The locked up shows. I like those. Those things.
I'm starting to get into them, man. I can't lie.
There's a new set, but it's new on Netflix, but it just came out in 2015. This Iraqi vet with his girlfriend go to confront her ex-boyfriend, and he winds up stabbing him. Hey, we got somebody. Hey, Philip Mahern, what's happening? Thanks for joining the stream over there on Facebook. We just talked about Tom Petty, and now we drug the mood down, so we're trying to bring it back up with a little
by talking about white supremacy,
inspiring news. But anyway, I felt
not talking about white supremacy. I feel like I should retract that.
Yeah, we're not,
because I giggled after it. That's not what we're talking about.
We're talking about inspiring stories where this guy. What do you say? Glad to be here. Well, we're glad to have you. We're talking about this guy that met with a lady. And she basically inspired him to get his swastika tattoos removed. He's a white guy, she's a black lady, and so she befriended him, and he got rid of his tattoos.
This is like a real life American History X.
It is kind of reverse. Let's say reverse because American history. Well, no, I guess you're right. Yeah.
No, it's just
but
the teacher.
I hope Mr. Kent never curb stomped anybody.
Well, okay, true. Yeah, I will never get the sound of that out of my head.
So yeah, it was a good movie. Another Ed Norton movie, by the way. I thought it was.
It was an educational movie. I mean, it was.
I thought it was a good movie.
It was a very good movie.
I thought it was a good movie. I mean,
I don't know if my wife is watching. She's probably putting middle fingers in the comments right now because that movie stars Fairuza Balk, and she cannot understand why I like her as an actress.
I do too. I thought she was great.
Anyone seen The Craft?
In The Craft, I was just getting ready to say that. I thought she was great in The Craft.
The Water Boy.
You know what? I'm gonna have to look her up now, just so we can put a picture of her up on the thing. But she was in The Water Boy. I can't spell her first name.
Faruza.
There it is. Bingo.
Yep.
So anyway, this guy and his girlfriend were arrested for messing with, for attempted murder. What happened was they went to confront this guy. And
is this the real story or the Netflix thing?
This is the Netflix. The locked up thing that happened. So anyway, I really felt bad for the guy because I felt like he went to defend his girlfriend's honor, so to speak, and he wound up getting caught up in it, and it just wasn't, it turned out bad. And then at the end, you find out, well, he was an Iraqi vet, Purple Heart awardee, and of course he's kind of he wasn't a huge guy, he was a small stature kind of guy, and they started messing with him, and he wound up getting, mixed into some violence and stuff there, but then the judge basically gave him a break, but the defender tried to use that, the prosecutor tried to use his military service against him, saying that he was like, he's a soldier, so, he's a weapon, which we all know. For those of you in the military know that it's not like that. Hey, Josh Stacy, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for coming to the stream. Appreciate having you here. So there's a picture of Fairuza. I thought Random would like that picture. I don't think does she have blue eyes like that in person?
I don't know. I'm still looking at Tom Petty, so.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you. I think so.
Yeah, it'll catch up here in a second.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool.
She looks a bit like Amy Lee from Evanescence in that photo.
Yeah, that's one of those stock photos.
Yeah.
I just grabbed it and threw it out there. Oh, I got it. I had another one, but it's not coming through.
Hey, Michael Burdick. How you doing, bud?
Is he on your stream, I take it? Cool.
No, he's on yours, brother.
Where at?
It just says right now, Michael Burdick is watching you.
Well, hey, Mike. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
That is a buddy of mine. He used to live next to us, and his kid is my kid's best friend.
Nice. I believe this picture here is her from The Craft. And this all sparked from a conversation talking about a gentleman and his inspiring story about how he overcame his racism and got rid of his swastikas. And we started talking about Fairuza Balk.
Well, because we got to American History X.
Yes, we were talking about.
And the cast.
There he is. Yeah, that's
Jamie Ryan.
These guns are registered weapons.
I'm going to like that.
Oh, I got one for you. I saw this the other night. Okay, you ready for this one? All right. Hey, does anybody know, is there a veterinarian around here? This is where you say, no, why?
Oh, wait. Hang on. What'd you say? Veterinarian?
Yeah, veterinarian.
I would say yes, but I want to hear the punchline.
Well, can you point me the way to him? Because these puppies are sick. And I'm flexing my muscle.
File that.
Nice. All right. All right. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Take that down. What's next?
Yeah, that was from The Craft, by the way. It just showed up for me.
Yeah, she was good in that movie. I like that movie.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's go. Let's drag the world down again.
Move back down.
Yeah. Let's move back down again and. It's a dad joke alert. Nice. Let's talk.
Liking that one too.
Let's talk about what happened in Vegas. A horrible thing that happened. I'm not going to put any pictures of this guy up. All right. The papers
glorify him that way.
Exactly. The papers and everything that have been talking say that there are 59 innocent people dead. Well, in the coroner's report, there's 59, and that includes the killer. So, no, 59 innocent souls aren't dead. 58 innocent souls are dead. And this is, as you can see from the Mandalay Bay, the view to where the concert was. A lot of people are asking me about that. Well, weren't they were at a concert, so weren't they in a building? No, this is more like a bowl. As you can see, it's kind of right there off the strip, and the hotel overlooks it. So from his room there, you can see that he had a good view of the main stage. There's a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff out about that. We're not getting into that. We're not here to speculate.
No.
We're going to talk about the timeline. Random's going to bring that up in just a second. Here's a view from one of the rooms down into where the bowl was that I just showed you.
I thought you had the timeline. Let me go back and find it. I've got a different one pulled up.
Okay, I can pull that one up here in a second. It's not a big deal.
Well, it's more of a like what we know so far. I mean, I've got the approximate time that it started.
Right.
you have more of the statistics on that. I have more on similar mass shootings and where this one ranks. I mean, I'm sure anyone watching the news knows where this one ranks, but I mean, I've got a chart that puts it in comparison to everything dating back to Columbine.
Right. I'm gonna bring this one up real quick. I hope you guys can see this one fairly well. I'm trying to make it a little bigger. There's a little bit bigger. Again, another diagram for you, and it's horrible. And we're gonna talk about how this relates to gaming here in a minute. It's a horrible thing.
Or how people try to make it relate to gaming.
Right, exactly. And unfortunately, some of the politicians in the world, and I don't know a better way to say this, but before, like, the bodies were cold, I mean, that's kind of a bad way to say it, but before we knew how many people were dead, before we knew exactly, well, we still really don't know exactly what went down. The politicians are already
the total number of fatalities from this, because there are people still in critical condition in the hospitals.
There was over 250 some odd that are wounded and still injured, so we don't know. And they're
it's
already
like 480, isn't it?
I couldn't tell you, brother.
Yeah, it's close to 500. It was initially like 5 something.
It says
now it's down to 480.
59 people have been killed and 527 injured.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's horrible in itself. And, you know, again, politicians, they politicize. That's their job. So they jump on it, and it's horrible that they do that kind of stuff. And then when other politicians who do kind of have a conscience about it try to have a moment of silence to show some support to the injured people and the victims, other politicians make fun of that, or
I heard about this. That female Democrat, right?
Well, I wasn't going to mention any political parties, but yeah, there was.
Well, I mean,
she complained.
Yeah, she just said this is becoming common practice around here. I mean, yeah, giving a moment of silence to pay tribute or say a prayer or whatever. I mean, it's sad that this shit's happening all the time, but I mean, yeah, you do give a moment of silence. You maybe lower a flag. You say a prayer.
Definitely.
You don't need smart-ass comments like that.
You know, we don't need that kind of stuff. Hey, Jason, thanks for stopping by. And, yeah, if you guys have opinions about this, that's what the chat's for. We want to talk to you guys and know what you're thinking.
Welcome, Adam.
And is Adam on? Hey, Adam. Thanks for stopping in. Let us know what your opinions are, because this is going to be ugly for all of us. And to accuse any groups or anybody other than the person who did this right now, I mean, that really shouldn't be our jobs. You know, this is a horrible thing. So what can we do? What can I do? Go give blood. If you so inclined where you have money, find out, you know, give money to one of the hospitals that helped out. So that put a great strain on those hospitals, and you know they accept donations, and you know that would definitely help them out. The friggin' police auxiliary in Vegas, the first person. Now this is what I heard. Again, everything I hear, I don't have any news sources other than the radio and the internet. But the first person that responded was a security guard at the Mandalay Bay. And the reason that the guy only fired for like 10 minutes was because the security guard heard it and started banging in the door. And when he banged in the door, the guy stopped and took shots at the door, injuring that guy's leg.
Shot him in the leg.
Yeah. So if you want, you know, if you're so inclined to donate money, call Mandalay Bay. Say, hey, I want to send money to your security guy or his family to help with his medical
there's
bills.
GoFundMe pages out all over the place for the victims from this, the people that are in the hospitals, and I'm sure he has one too. I mean, hell, GoFundMe's probably good. Just make sure you research it. Don't get, sad as this is to say nowadays, don't fall on one that may look legit. Do some, you know, a little bit of research on the background.
Unfortunately, we live in that kind of time. And let me take a real quick time out to say welcome to Matt Feltz. Hey, appreciate you stopping by. Matt Feltz, loyal listener to the stream. Thanks, Matt. Thumbs up. But yeah, it's sad that we do live in a time where anybody can put a GoFundMe page up and they put this whining, crying story, and people Americans have big hearts. We do. And people, they're like, oh man, I feel so sorry for this guy. So I'm going to give him $20 or $10 or $5 or whatever they can afford. And 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 people give this guy money, and he just scammed you out of your $5.
$5,000.
Yeah, $500 or $5,000 or how many ever people, pass it. We live in this time now where everything becomes viral so fast. It's not even funny. Some good things and some funny things. But stuff goes viral really quick, and before you know it, 1 million people have seen it. Can you imagine? And for those of you who are really young, you can't. But back in 1980, when I was dialing a rotary phone, there was no way that anything, like everything I got was straight off the news and secondhand.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yes, I had a rotary phone.
I
didn't have a touch-tone phone till like the 90s.
Man, I was like 6 in the 80s.
You were 6, and I was 9 years old in 1980.
In what year?
1980. I just gave away my age.
You were 9 years old?
I was 9 years old in 1980.
Wow, I really thought you were... I didn't know you were that much older than me.
Yeah,
I was born in 82.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about that the other day. So, anyway...
But yeah, we both still act like we're 12, so, I mean, we're good.
I'm this many. So, anyway... of course, the big thing that everybody screamed at the top of their lungs was, guns, gun safety. We got a question. Hold on, I'll read the question here. Let me bring the mic over. Jason's question is, why did all the security detail working the concert were all in reflective jackets? Video after the shooting, they were all in normal clothes.
My guess on that, and this is just a guess, would be when shooting starts and you're wearing something reflective that stands out in the night, maybe they dropped them so they wouldn't look like easy targets. That's just a guess.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. That's exactly what I thought. My first inclination is they're shooting at us. I don't want to be a target, so I'm going to get in street clothes. And I did see, was it Jason Aldean? It was his concert, or he was on stage performing.
He was they had just finished playing God Bless America or America the Beautiful, one of the two. I
don't know what they were playing, but I did see that he, at first he was kind of hesitant. And then if you watch the videos, there are videos out there, which I can't play them because of copyright stuff. And I really don't want to play them. But at first he stopped and he kept playing. And then all of a sudden he just turned tail and run, which I don't blame him. Everybody there, they're sitting targets. And
bullets were hitting the stage too. I read about that today too. His wife was in the tent behind him. They ran to meet each other, and they were getting shot behind the PA system.
The first thing I thought when this all went down was this guy is shooting from an elevated distance, and there are going to be a lot of fatalities because of headshots. And that's the military thing coming out in me. It's like, oh my God, it's just worst case scenario, and I'm sure that's what happened. And for those people there to witness that, that's got to be horrible because we saw some things in Iraq. We were very lucky that we didn't have a lot of horrific things happen to us when we were in Iraq together, and we didn't. That would be the topper on the cake there, and that would be horrible. Yeah, exactly, Phil. Philip. That's what we think. They didn't want to be targets to shooters. Then why does the military wear?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. Why does the military wear reflective belts when they're running in a combat zone? That's another question. Because the sergeant major said so. That's all.
That's on here?
No, that was me being stupid.
Oh, I was like, we do?
That's my dig on PT belts.
Gotcha. Dudes.
Jason agrees with us. So, again, let's go back to the gun thing because to me that's a big thing. I am a huge constitutionalist. To me, some of the
smaller words, the
Constitution, that thing that we swore to uphold, and
shouldn't be joking right now. Go ahead.
That's okay. But I'm huge on the Constitution, and I really think that the Second Amendment, which is our right to bear arms, to have weapons, really should be the First Amendment because the Second Amendment supports all the others. Because without the Second Amendment, you can't have free speech. because they can take it away from you. If somebody's pointing a gun at you and telling you you will say this or you won't say that, if you have no way to fight back, you're going to do what they say.
That's true. Think of all the Al Qaeda videos and stuff like that.
Exactly. Well, what do governments that turn on their people do? The first thing they do is they outlaw guns, and then they only give out guns and weapons to the people that support them. That's what happened in Venezuela. And if you don't know about Venezuela, look it up. It is going to hell in a handbasket. It is horrible.
I mean, is that kind of something that's going on in North Korea? I mean, I don't really know too much about it. I just know they don't know shit about what's going on outside of their country. Only like the people that are high up do.
In North Korea, the only people that have weapons are the military, which are run by Kim Jong-un and his cronies, and his police. But they are brainwashed from birth. I mean
yeah.
And that's propaganda. It's another way that it's done. We couldn't do this, what we're doing right now, in North Korea. We would be
we'd have been assassinated long ago.
We'd have been in some dungeon or something because we made fun of his bowl haircut. So anyway.
Okay, I'm sorry to say this, but I mean, there is one thing that I did. I giggled just a little too much at. Some evil genius on the internet photoshopped Kim Jong-un's hair onto Donald Trump and then also in reverse.
Nice.
I know I'm not supposed to laugh at shit like that, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, you can laugh at it. It's okay.
It was funny.
So they found 17 guns in the guy's hotel room. If the guns were just there by themselves, nobody dies. But this guy, because of whatever evil nature that they have yet to figure out, of course, ISIS claimed it, and they gave him a name, and they said that happened. And
well, of course, they're dying out so fast.
Yeah. Again, more speculation.
Go back to that first thing you said. There are how many guns in the room?
17.
And those guns they killed people or someone killed people with guns?
He only used one of them, a modified gun with a thing called what was that called?
Is it a hammer stock or something like that?
No.
Bump stock.
Bump stock. That's it. You're right. Bump stock.
Yeah.
So he used a bump stock to make the weapon that he had fire auto. So
I was just trying to further your point by saying forks don't make people fat.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, the city of Indianapolis is suing opioid companies that make opioid medications. That there's a big opioid epidemic in Indiana, and the city of Indianapolis.
And an opioid is what?
Is a drug. It's a controlled substance. Like you can't be in the military and be on an opioid. It's like
Is that like an antidepressant?
Let me look it up, but I think opioid is one of the key ingredients in weed, or not in weed, heroin.
No. Yes. Okay. Well, okay, maybe.
It's a pain medication. Opioid is a narcotic. Oh, I'm going to get a. We don't want to hear it. Ah, dang it! I did it again. Oh, balls.
It's like for a while they were saying people could not be on a benzodiazepine because it is technically a mind-altering drug, which is given to people with depression and anxiety, and it alters the state in which certain receptors in your brain fire.
Yep.
And it causes you not to have so much anxiety or helps with your depression and stuff. And I know that because I'm on that. So I just didn't know if an opioid was something similar to that. I really had no idea.
It's a pain medication, and people are getting addicted to it. Let's see.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's read. Thanks, Phil, for letting us know about the bump fire. And Jason says, why hasn't anyone said anything about the rounds on the floor? One would think that if someone was shooting out of the room, why would there be rounds on the floor? It should be cases. Or I guess he means casings. Yeah, I think I don't know. And I hate to.
Depending on if he was like perched back in like a sniper. I mean, if he was back in there for concealed cover, sure. But he could have also been leaning out the window because he had tripods on most of those guns, or bipods set up on most of the guns that were firing out the window. So a lot of those casings could have flew out the window and been on the ground down below.
Yeah, and he did knock the window out.
Two of them.
Well, that's speculation that the other one got knocked out. What happens is windows do get blown off this hotel. I've seen pictures. They show pictures, earlier pictures, where windows do get blown off the hotel. So that's kind of speculation.
Well, and they were saying these were hurricane-enforced windows.
Yeah, but again, they do get blown off.
But he wouldn't have had time to reload.
Well, apparently he didn't, because he only got a few minutes. Well, he did.
Hey, Matt Felt says you're playing through the stereo at work and everyone is listening, so you have a pretty good audience right now.
Right on. Hi, people. How are you? I hope everybody's having a good night and having good weather. It was kind of muggy out there earlier, but we don't do weather on this show, so thanks for listening, everybody.
Well, going back to Jason's point on he would have not had time to reload. Was it proved he only used one weapon? Because there's weapons all over there were stacks of rifles in there.
I don't know, and again, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to be that guy that makes a bad guess and or says shoulda, coulda, woulda, and then I'm totally wrong, and I don't want to look like a butthole. And I tell you, the other reason is I don't want to. These people that died, it's 58 souls that I just don't want to speculate. I really don't.
Right. You're right.
If 58 people died and 527 people were injured, he definitely had to reload a couple times. He had to, and they said it was.
Well, it could have been a lot worse than that. He was shooting at fuel tanks for a while. He was trying to make them blow up. There was, one or two jet fuel tanks somewhere down there that he was shooting at?
I don't know.
No, I read that today. There was. I don't know. I read that article on Yahoo earlier saying he was shooting at jet fuel tanks trying to make them blow up.
Yeah, I haven't read that. I know he did have some chemicals in his car.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in the parking garage, and they said that there might be a possibility that there was a second person that may have chickened out, and that was going to be his escape. Again, there's more
another female of interest, not his girlfriend, but someone he had contact with in Vegas for a couple days.
She was in the concert, and she was telling people that they're all around us.
Oh, that's that woman?
Yeah.
It was like, you're going to die and telling people you're all going to be dead? Because I read about that a couple days ago, too. Like, the day this happened, there was one of the witnesses said there was a lady down there heckling people, telling them everyone's going to die.
Okay, Jason says that one of the pictures showed a stack of magazines next to the window. Oh, that's Phil says that. Jason says the picture shows full rounds on the floor. Yeah, once you fired them, the casing is ejected. So why is the full rounds on the floor in those pictures? Don't know.
We're probably not ever going to know, bud.
Yeah, what happened? Did they throw a flashbang in the room when the cops entered? From what I understand,
they might have kicked him over.
Right. Well, I'd hope not, but contaminating the crime scene and all that.
Well, I mean, if you're storming a room, you're bound to trip on something.
True. Some stuff's going to get knocked around. That's why I said flashbangs or whatever. So hopefully they can put it together in the next. It seems like every day something new comes out. But
the sad thing is we're not going to know fully because the only person that can really tell us everything going on chickened out and fucking killed himself.
And his girlfriend, the woman of interest, what was her name?
Oh, I sent it to you. I don't have it with me, but
okay, I believe her name was Mary Lou Delaney.
Yeah, that sounds right.
She's Australian and she has Australian and Philippine citizenship, and he bought her a ticket and sent her to the Philippines. Then when she got to the Philippines, he wired her $100,000 and said, use this money and buy your family a home. At that point in time, she thought, according to what they said on the radio today, she thought that he was dumping her.
Really?
Yeah. So
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, so we may not ever find out if she had anything to do with it. I'm sure the longer time goes and the more people get questions, maybe their stories break down and change.
I mean, if they lived together for as many years as they saw, 2-3 years they lived together and they were in love, and he had he's been collecting weapons since like the mid 1980s. They said, and his house is full of weapons. I mean,
Hey, so
shit,
so Philip writes probably from misfires. They said he wasn't experienced with weapons. So are you saying that the shooter Philip, he wasn't experienced with weapons? And again, there's about a 4 or 5 second delay between us and Facebook, so we'll kind of wait for
Lucas Worthington's on as well.
Hey, Worthington, what's happening, brother? It's nice to. I don't get to see you enough, man. Miss you guys down there in Evansville sometimes. Sometimes. Oh. And Phil says that's what his family and friends says. Man, I mean, he owned a lot of weapons. Apparently, he had weapons in other houses, so he was wealthy. And who knows? I don't want to speculate, but you would think somebody that would buy that many weapons would hopefully know how to use them. But I don't know. Maybe he just took some shooting classes, and if you're an inexperienced shooter, you probably aren't going to be that good at it. I mean, we have a few soldiers that they only fire once a year because they live in the big city and they don't have their own weapons and they don't have access to, so they don't fire that much. So they have a little problem qualifying the first or second, sometimes even the third time. It takes 4 or 5 times just to qualify. And weapon jams, as we all know, I mean, they happen. Then Philip says that he also heard the guy was an avid hunter. So again, more stories. I don't know. I really don't. I wish. Just keep your eyes on the news, people, and follow the stories. They're questioning whether there might have been a second person that was supposed to detonate his car and cause a diversion for him to get out. We won't know that for sure. So I don't know. I wish I did. I really do wish I did. Remove that. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. I'm moving some stuff around, so whenever we get ready to transition, I did want to go back. I did want to go back to the gun thing for a second. Again, everybody's screaming guns, guns, guns. For those of us who've been around guns for all our lives, like my dad would beat me to death, not literally, but he would definitely be very vocal if I got around his weapons. And the first thing I didn't do was check and make sure it was loaded. So I always, rack the chamber, make sure that it's there's no rounds in it, and never pick up a weapon. When I was a kid, if I touched one and there was an adult around, it was a spanking. Or we didn't have timeout back in those days. Timeout for me was going out and picking weeds or moving. I
thought you were going to say cutting a switch.
I've done that before. Go pick your own switch. Come back with a little thin willow stick.
Then you get beat harder because you have to go out and cut another one and waste their time.
No. Then Dad went and got one for you, or I got the leather strap. The
comes back with the Louisville Slugger. Found this on the batting tree outside.
Yeah, Phil, it is hard to know what to believe, to cut through all the bull. There's just so much crap out there. But I am a huge supporter of the Second Amendment. I think we, as Americans, need them. Everybody should be trained on weapons. If you have kids, I hope you take them out and show them how to properly handle a firearm, what to do, what not to do, how to load, how to fire it. There has been stories in the last couple of years of young kids, 12, 13, 14 years old, defending their property. And then you also read stories of young girls that are in their home alone after school, the latchkey kids, and they get raped, attacked, the houses get robbed, and they barely get out. Single parents, single mothers with kids that people break in their house and they don't know what to do, and they're in a closet calling 911, and the police are still 15 minutes away, and they're like, send somebody now, and they're, well, we've got somebody on the way, ma'am, just try to stay calm and quiet. So I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible that we live in a society where people have to steal stuff, but I really don't think they have to steal stuff, but it's horrible that stuff happens.
Philip's got a good point here. He says it would be cool if there was a program that would help people purchase gun safes and gun locks, or at least get a big discount on some.
You can go to the local VA, and they usually have gun locks for free. A lot of stores, when you buy your weapon, there is a gun lock that comes with it. So, and there's somebody outside, so of course Mr. Oliver wants to say hi. he's my guard dog.
Very vocal.
He is.
He has conversations with people.
He doesn't like. He has a big thing on guns too. He doesn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. Oh my gosh, I had to yell at him. But you hear all the arguments. Do I need a full auto M16 or AK-47, or do I need a grenade launcher? No. If you're hunting with a grenade launcher, you're not.
No, yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't really think unless we're living in the zombie apocalypse, I don't really think anyone needs a damn grenade launcher for home defense.
No, I totally agree. Hold on just a second. I'll be right back, guys. Take me 2 seconds.
Great. Left to carry a vlog here. All right.
Sorry about that.
Thank God. I didn't have to do it for vlog.
I
was like, oh no. What do I talk about?
Muffle him tonight. He's on a roll tonight. So, gun safes are really expensive, and there are a lot of companies that have them, and big and small ones, and they have little boxes that you have like a RFID chip around your neck, and it has to be so far away from it, like 5 feet before it'll open. They also do fingerprint ones where you like lay your hand on it, and it takes all 5 fingerprints. Now, because I'm worst case scenario guy, let's say somebody does get in your home, you can't get your weapon, and a guy breaks your finger or cuts your finger off, or I don't know what else. And now you only have 4 fingers or 3 fingers. How are you going to get to that gun? If you only have 3 fingers, it'd be hard to fire it anyway. But,
or just knocks you unconscious and takes your hand and puts it on the safe.
Right, and there are those ones they've put something in, like money. They put money in the pistol safe, and they gave it to kids, and they're like, hey, if you get this open, you can have the money that's in there. And they're like, look, it's $100 bill, and they put it in there and shut it, and they give it to these kids. And you know how kids are, and they can't get in it. So if kids can't get in it, and kids can get into anything. So, but there are
yeah.
I remember when I was in high school, again, back in the good old days in the late 90s, or I'm sorry, late 80s, early 90s, we had hunter safety course that you could take at school. And we didn't
You had a mass shooting then too.
Yeah, way back then. What year was
that? 1991 in Killeen, Texas.
Yeah, that was year after I graduated high school. So but we had hunter safety courses, and I would go deer hunting in the morning and leave your rifle in your truck in your rack in your back window. I mean, times have definitely changed. So
I don't know. I mean, it's the same. I mean, you go to like some towns, like Chandler, Indiana. I mean,
you just can't bring them
Boone, Vegas. I'm sure you'll see that
anymore.
Maybe not into the school, but I mean, like if you're just driving around.
Well, even have it in the back of your truck at the school. You can't do that nowadays. So that kind of brings us.
Well, did you want me to read this this timeline?
Yeah, go
here
ahead.
On just to see where this one stacks up. Now this is actually starting with that one in Texas in 1991. That there were 23 fatalities in that, and that is in the middle of the list. Now, one of the most popular ones that we've all heard about is Columbine. That's still to this day talked about as like one of the most heinous massacres in the country. And of course, that's because kids and everything, same as Sandy Hook. But with Columbine, that was in 1999. And there were 13 fatalities. I'm assuming that's not counting the 2 that did it.
They're counting it in the numbers for this, so they may have counted it into the numbers. Who knows? I mean, if it doesn't say on there, let's just assume that they are.
Okay. Yeah. Speculation sucks, but in 2009 at Fort Hood, Texas, there were 13 soldiers and civilians at a hospital, right? The military hospital on base?
Which one was that again?
Fort Hood?
No, that was the Fort Hood shooter. He wasn't. He was just out in the open. It was that.
Oh, I thought he went into the hospital or something.
No, I thought he was just out on the base. I don't know. I could be wrong. Keep talking. I'll look it up real quick.
Well, in 2015, in San Bernardino, now this one is escaping me. I'm not sure if it's that foreign couple that came in.
Yes.
Okay, well, there were 14 victims to that one. Then, as I've already said, in 1991, in Killeen, Texas, there was 23. Sandy Hook, I hate to say one of these is more unfortunate than the other because they're all just tragic.
Yeah.
This one's like, was it kindergartners and some teachers?
It was a school. It was an elementary school.
Yeah.
It was,
and there was 27 fatalities. Virginia Tech in 2007, there were 32, and in Orlando, that's the most recent one, in 2016, last year. What was that guy's name? Omar Mateen, something like that.
Yeah.
Can't remember his. Yeah. He went into a nightclub and killed 49 people, and that was the worst modern day gun massacre in. I mean, if you want to go back Civil War into the Indians and all that stuff, I mean, it gets well into the hundreds of thousands with that. And then, of course, now this guy in Las Vegas just topped that with 58 so far.
The Fort Hood guy was at the Soldier Readiness Processing Center, or a personnel receiver team.
So SRP?
Pretty much.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
So yeah, that was a bad deal. And did you mention the guy in Colorado that went into the theater during the Batman movie?
No, that's not even on here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that he had. It must have been under 13. I guess that was their number, their cutoff. I'll look him up real quick. Or are you doing that?
I am right now.
Okay, that was in Aurora, Colorado.
Yes, it
I believe. And that dude
yep,
was during the Dark Knight
people.
screening. Okay, yeah, during the Dark Knight screening, the dude
people.
whose name I can't remember thought he was the Joker or something.
Yeah.
Painted his hair orange like a dipshit and.
Yep. And one of my points was and has always been that these guys are willing to die, and it's hard to stop somebody that's willing to die.
Well, they're either willing to die or they're too big of a coward to finish through with an answer for what they've done. Because all these people, most of them, have turned a gun on themselves to avoid being captured and actually having to atone for what they've done.
Yeah. So, with everything that we read and the one that we talked about in Colorado, doggone it, now I'm drawing a blank. Where the two kids shot it.
I mean, we also had those two church ones.
Yeah.
That I think there were 7 and 9 respectively, based on years. Not the age, but victim wise.
Yeah. So Josh says, I like how the news made it a race issue pretty quick. That is the only mention I'll make of it. Yeah. It's sad when they jump on a certain boat or a certain issue or topic before, I don't know any better way to say it than before the bodies are even cold, before we even know what's going on. But with Columbine, and one of the things that they brought up was it was video game like. They were dressed like the people from the Matrix. They had weapons that were like.
They listened to Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
And
they found all these pop culture things in video games and violence. One of the games that we play is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and it's a last man standing. So you have weapons and you're trying to kill other players.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read this about, do video games make people violent? This is from BBC News. And it says that more than 200 academics have signed an open letter criticizing controversial new research that suggests a link between violent video games and aggression. The findings were released by the American Psychological Association. It set up a task force that reviewed hundreds of studies and papers published between 2005, and 2013. They concluded that there was no single risk factor to blame for aggression. Violent video games did contribute. That violent video games did contribute. The research demonstrates a consistent relationship between violent video games use and increases in aggressive behavior. Aggressive cognitions and aggressive affects, and decreases in pro-social behavior, empathy, and sympathy to aggression, said the report. All right. Streamers play video games all day, every day. I've never heard of streamer rage, where a guy goes out and...
Well, I've heard of streamer rage.
I have seen streamer rage,
yeah,
where these guys throw controllers, throw chairs, they get mad. It's a game.
It's about me every day.
But they get upset over the game, and I get that. It's a game, and basically these guys are getting, this is their full-time job, playing video games, and when something bad goes happen. And that's another reason why people watch. So when something bad goes happen, am I throwing screens? Am I having a fit? That's another.
And people think that's funny.
Yeah, and some people think it's funny. But you would think if somebody was going to snap and go out and kill people, wouldn't it be the guys that play video games all the time, day after day after day after day? Some of these guys seem to be the most, they're social online.
Well, I've got a story here from the New York Times about Columbine.
Yeah.
That is just like specific, like damn near blaming video games completely on it. I'm not going to mention this guy's name, but he's a psychiatrist in Portland. Concluded that the two that did it went on their shooting rampage because their parents took away their video game privileges. It was also criticized. They listened to Marilyn Manson. He was blamed for it and stuff like the band Rammstein, however you say it.
Rammstein,
yeah, was blamed for it as well. But the video game Doom, which I played a lot, and still, I bought the new one a couple years ago. Still, my kids have played it.
Right.
The older one, not the youngest ones. It's the same as Call of Duty. Just you're in a different where you're down in the nethers and you're shooting demons. But it says they relied on the virtual world of computer games to express their rage and spend time. Cutting them off in 1998 sent them into a crisis. The findings published this month in the American Journal of Forensic Psychiatry were the result of analysis of thousands of pages of criminal investigation, blah, blah, blah. The author bolsters his claim by citing previous outbursts of violence from both of them that followed video game bans. And this one right here is why I'm bringing this up, because as an avid video gamer, and so are you, and so are probably anyone listening, and just millions of people between the age of 6 and 60 nowadays.
There is gamer grandpa.
This person arrives at this big question: how do you pull them out without triggering homicidal or suicidal behavior?
Well,
I have had my internet cut off. I have been deployed without access to video games, and I didn't go on a rampage.
Well, again, younger people are more impressionable, but
I took my kid's Xbox away from him because he got bad grades for like 6 months, and the worst thing he did was not clean his room.
One of the things that the American Association or Psychological Association found that youth violence in the U.S. and around the world is currently at a 40-year low, but of course they won't contribute that to actually playing the video games and getting aggression out there. But when I was a kid, I didn't have video games. I didn't start playing video games till I was in college, and that's like in '92. So why didn't I freak out and get in a lot of trouble and stuff? I won't say I had a structured life as a child, but I've respected my parents, and I had stuff I had to do. Chores, mowed the yard, worked with my dad. I wanted to make money so I could buy. I was huge into G.I. Joe. Even in high school, I hid it. I was a closet G.I. Joe, still am.
Still are.
Before I found Star Wars and started buying all these Star Wars books. but I was huge into that stuff, and that took my time, and that was the nerd thing for me. And yeah, what happens when that one nerd thing goes away? What else do these kids have to fall back on? And this is me personally, but I feel like we live in a society today where people expect their kids to be babysitted by these games, by videos. Little Johnny won't be good, so I'm going to hand him my phone so he can watch a video. So
yeah, because people don't want to deal with their problems. They're
Right.
like, oh my God, I can't handle this shit right now. Here, play this and be quiet.
Exactly. And I mean, there are a lot of.
I'm not going to say I'm perfect on this. There have been times where I've, like, you know.
Right. And I don't
So
have.
the kid's been in trouble for a little bit of something. And, you know, I'm like, hey, no video games till tomorrow and everything. And then he was just miserable. I was trying to get stuff done. I'm like, all right, look, did you learn a lesson from something? Just play this here. Tired of dealing with this right now. I got so many other things going on. And I shouldn't have gave in on it, but I did.
Right. And
You know.
I don't have a mini-me or mini-me's to do
I mean, you
punishments and
technically
stuff with,
being
but I taught.
Godfather to some,
Right.
you do.
I taught. Yeah, true. But I taught for a couple years, and I put kids on the walls, and I heard them whine and cry, and I punished children in my class for doing the wrong thing. You don't want to do it because you kind of remember when you were a kid, and you try to empathize and sympathize with them, but at the same time,
You can't be their friend. Like, to take things away from, like, if you take their video games away from, or if they want to buy something and you say no, I mean, you're not being an asshole parent. You're preparing them for something called a job, something called life.
Wait a minute. You mean when your kids are adults, they're not going to be able to get everything they want?
I mean, if they follow my pattern, no. Not in the least. Now,
So
I don't want to sound ungrateful for my life. I love my family. I love my wife. I have moments of happiness with what I do for a living. But, I mean, yeah, I could, all in all, this is going pretty good. Whenever something bums me out or things don't go my way, I'm not like, oh, who can I inflict some pain on? Even if it's verbal. No, it's just like, well, shit happens. Deal with it. Get over it. I may complain about it, mostly to you. Offline, over the phone or whatever. But, I mean,
everybody needs somebody to vent with too, and
kind of comes down to, like, you can't blame, and this again is my opinion, you can't blame video games, you can't blame music. I mean, like, this music, video game, it's always been a release. It's never been a motivating factor for me for anything in my life. Like, oh man, okay, this is happening. If this is Call of Duty, what would I do?
Right.
Okay, oh man, if Avenged Sevenfold was here right now, what would their music tell me to do in this situation? No, it's just like, people are born good, people are born evil, and that's just the sad state of it. There are people who are born with that is going to happen in their life. Nothing anyone can say is going to stop that, because that is what they were destined to do from birth. That's just how this world is. Well, that's how mankind is. I mean, I'm a religious person, so everyone has a predetermined destiny.
Well, I'm really hoping that none of this comes back and bites gamers in the rear end, because...
No, it should. I mean, not to sound condescending about this one, but the man was over 60 years old. I really don't think video games are going to be highly played in this one. This is probably going to be actual events on the news, or maybe war movies he saw, or
yeah, I'm just
shit he experienced as a child or something like that. But
yeah, I'm just hoping they don't try to bring up the whole violence aspect of it and try to put it on video games and stuff.
Well, if video games and music was this mind altering, we would have one of these every 10 seconds. It'd be like someone dying from smoking cigarettes.
True, very true.
Also, just an opinion. So
I just wanted to hit Stacy's point real quick. Yeah, during Columbine there was a lot. It was a lot about
Marilyn Manson,
and yeah. So.
And again, I listen to him, and if anyone that knows me, which most of you on here do, I'm not a violent guy. I'm more of a. I'll get mad about something. I will punch a wall in private. I may bitch about it whenever I'm away from something, but in the heat of the moment, I'm like, okay.
Well, I hope. It's the person. It's got to be.
the devil's working strong in a lot of people, and I'm not going to make this a religious thing because I don't.
Some people don't believe in it.
Yeah, I don't know whose religion is what. I'm just, in my opinion, it is. So, you know.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move from that, and we're gonna go to our weekly.
Finally, can we get on something happier?
Star Wars. We're gonna go to our weekly Star Wars segment. This is our new segment. We're gonna start doing something from Star Wars, and with the new Star Wars movies that are coming out. So I hope this is what everybody's been here waiting for.
I'm here waiting for you to tell me about Rey and the upcoming movies.
It is.
Is she gonna lose a hand?
I don't know.
She's gotta. Okay. I believe she is a descendant of the Skywalkers, and Darth lost his hand, and then Luke lost a hand. So
man, I'm glad I'm not a Skywalker. That's for sure. I don't lose a hand.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
that would murder my sex life.
a lot of people question how.
That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. Retract file that one.
That was a good one. It almost, I stopped it right there, brought it back, and I'm like, oh, I got you. I see. I see.
Yeah.
It took me.
Yeah, I heard a thud upstairs. I have a feeling.
Uh-oh. Might be in trouble on that one. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to.
So a lot of people said when Star Wars movies came out, it was like, how did George Lucas invent the lightsaber? That's a good question. I don't know.
Acid?
It's possible that it might have been acid.
Oh, hey, by the way, I don't know if I shouted this out yet. Ethan Blosh has joined us.
Hey, Ethan, what's happening? Nice.
He joined a while ago, so.
Oh, hey. Well, thanks for
Yeah, I just
by.
caught this.
Sorry we're a little late. Now I lost where I was at. Okay. The physical appearance of the lightsaber handle was inspired by a universal translator from the original Star Trek series. God, I hope not. Something Star Wars. Never mind. I won't even get there.
Wait, hang on. What?
A lot of Trekkies.
Say that one again. Something about Star Trek. What was it? I missed the whole thing.
That the lightsaber handle may have been inspired by the universal translator from the original Star Trek series.
Oh, I'm gonna look that up while you're talking.
May have been.
Hey, I like both.
So
now I'm more on the Star Wars side, but I'm not a big fan of old Star Trek. But I mean, new Star Trek. Come on, JJ.
There's other speculation that lightsabers were inspired by magic swords from the Lord of the Rings.
That was
and
that doesn't make sense.
Random. Well, in the
were the books even out?
In the original, I think it was in The Hobbit came out in like 1960, the cartoon version.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, and Gandalf's sword like glowed blue when he was fighting the what was that big horrible thing in the tunnels when he fell and became.
I don't know. I didn't watch those movies. There's only one return. It's not of the King. It's of the Jedi.
Yeah. I got that one. Also,
copyright Kev Smith.
Whenever the orcs would come around, Sting would become blue. The blade would start glowing blue. So if you remember that.
Hey, I'm pulling this thing up that you were talking about with the lightsaber and Star Trek. So as soon as I find something on here, I'll read it out.
Oh, where'd my other one go? Oh, here we go. So here's some things. They say this is 13 things that you probably don't.
You're not a moon gadget, are you?
Negative.
Okay, that's what I'm on.
13 things that you probably don't know about the lightsaber. The first one is they were essentially created by the dark side. The first prototype lightsabers were called Force sabers and were essentially dark side energy channeled into a blade via crystals and alchemy. For those of you who don't know, Sith are real big into alchemy, and there's a real good series of books that talk about alchemy back in the Old Republic, and that would be the Darth Bane series that starts with the Path of Destruction, the Rule of Two, and what was the last one? Destiny of Evil. That's right. I'm actually looking at my Star Wars books collection and reading those off to you. So if, say, a Jedi picked up a Force saber, he or she would run the risk of immediately and unwillingly turning to the dark side simply by using it because, again, the Sith powered it using their dark side energy. They channeled their dark side energy through the crystals and by the use of alchemy. The early Jedi made the first lightsabers in order to use these weapons without becoming evil. So they needed a weapon So the Jedi used them to counter the Sith weapon. So it came out of a need to use those to battle the Sith. They used to need battery packs. The earliest lightsabers, also called proto-sabers, didn't include internal power cells, mainly because they hadn't been invented yet. So proto-sabers had external power sources. They used to be called laser swords. I've never heard that one before, and I'll have to dig into some.
I haven't heard that either.
Yeah. Laser swords. And that was not in the Star Wars universe. Oh, there we go. Just in George Lucas's earliest draft of the Star Wars script. Lightsabers is very definitely an improvement over laser swords. Luke and Darth Vader's lightsabers were made out of camera flashes. Nice. So the original ones in the movies, the ones that they used, the hilts, were camera flashes. Obi-Wan's hilt was made from a Rolls-Royce Derwent MK8, MK9 jet engine balance pipe. So there you go, a little movie trivia for you. The lightsaber can be any color. Now, and it does explain this, a lightsaber's blade color is determined by the crystal it uses to focus the energy. I believe it's called a Krylon crystal. I'm going to have to look.
Is that determining between like good and evil?
Well, that's,
for like blue, red, green, stuff like that.
That's why we're talking about this. Is we're going to get into why I'm talking about lightsabers here in just a second. But I want to finish reading these and we'll get there.
Okay.
The lightsaber's color is determined by the crystal. I believe it's a Krylon crystal. I'll look that up here in just a second. That focuses the energy. Jedi and Sith alike could and did wield any color blade. So I have read some stuff where the Sith would use different colors, but it was mainly red, and the Sith that did use different colors were generally Jedi that went to the dark side. So that's in some of the books that I've read.
Welcome, Sith. Christian, by the way.
Hey, thanks for dropping by, Christian. I hope you enjoyed the stream. The Sith got into the habit of using red after popular Darth, Raven, and Malix both used red lightsabers. In the Darth Bane, it goes back into the Old Republic, and they were using red in that at the Jedi Academy, or the Sith Academy, when the light side and the dark side were battling in the
now,
wars.
who's Darth Bane again?
Darth Bane.
Is that your picture?
That is my picture, because I don't.
That is your picture.
One of these days, I'm gonna.
Looks eerily like you.
It does kind of look like me a little bit.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm gonna paint myself up like that. Oh, where's my mask? Oh.
I mean, all you really have to do is put a cloak on. You're there.
Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, Darth Bane didn't start out as a Sith. He was kind of discovered accidentally. He used to work in a mining
sounds a bit
world.
like Darth Vader.
True. But he was older. He was older when he was figured out. So what happened was, during the war between the dark and the light side, he was at a mining planet, and he liked to gamble. His dad didn't like him, and they called him the bane of his existence. And as you can see, that later became his name. But
that's where that came from?
Yep, it came from his dad.
That phrase came from Star Wars, though?
No, that
you were the bane of my existence?
That was that came out long.
Oh,
way.
Okay. I was like, man,
yeah.
I owe copyright money to a whole bunch of people because I've said that a whole bunch of times in my life.
So anyway, Bane gets in this gambling match, and he doesn't know it, but he uses the Force to basically win, and he winds up getting in a fight with some of the Imperials, and he leaves the planet, and later on gets recruited because he fights in the wars.
Wait a minute, which Bane are we talking about here? Are we talking about the Bane that conquered Batman?
Not that Bane.
Perhaps he's wondering why someone would use a lightsaber on a man just before throwing him out of a plane.
Oh, that's horrible.
I will find that.
That was good, though. That was good.
Thank you.
But no, not that Bane. So anyway, Bane later on kills all these Sith lords and installs the rule of two back. he brings that back. He goes on a journey and does research and learns about all the old Sith Lords, and he brings back the rule of 2, and then he takes on a Padawan. Or,
the rule of 2. I see that every day at work when opening a certain door in my office.
You must have.
I guess the military was built around Star Wars.
Unaccompanied roster, yeah. So
unaccompanied Jedi roster.
There you go. Can't go in my vault unless you're with a Sith Lord.
Gonna totally do that and see if anyone catches it.
Nice. So he takes on a trainee. They really on the Sith they don't call them Padawans. They just say that
they're apprentice, right?
Yeah, they're an apprentice. So the Jedi found the habit of exclusively using blue and green when they started using the natural crystals of the planet Alum, I-L-U-M, Alum, to make their blades were green and blue and only natural occurring colors. Lightsabers can even be black, although there's only one black bladed lightsaber known as the Dark Saber, and there's a book entitled Dark Saber.
Is that like the Elder Wand in Harry Potter?
Pretty close. I have not gotten through that book yet, so I don't want to try
which book?
It's called Dark Saber. That's the name of the book.
I thought you meant the Harry Potter book. I was like, wait a minute.
No, do I have it?
Hang on. Jason says,
no.
Weren't the blades gold during the Old Republic?
Yes, because like they said that they could use any color, and but they went primarily blue and green when they started getting them from that Alum planet. So getting the crystals from there. Is it gold or is it more of a yellow? But yeah, I've seen the yellow ones too. Darth Conquest is on. Hey Darth, he's on YouTube, so he's gonna have a hell of lag going on there. Yes, 2 there are, no more, no less, a master and an apprentice. Very good. That's from the dark side.
That's the opposite of Jedi, right? Because don't they have many?
They have a whole Jedi Academy.
Young Padawans.
And they take on one Padawan at a time. So you have
each Jedi, though, right?
You have a Jedi Knight with each Jedi Knight with a Padawan.
Gotcha.
So I haven't read all the way through Dark Saber. It looks really good. It's an ancient weapon that the Jedi had stolen by the Mandalores way back, and that's all it says is way back. Dark Saber's blade is actually shaped like a regular blade, thin and with an edge, although the blade was slightly curved and the back of it somehow serrated. So I don't understand. Like I said, haven't read all the way through that book. So Luke's green lightsaber in Return of the Jedi almost didn't happen. We're not going to read into that. Lightsabers were actually illegal during the Empire. After Palpatine ordered I want to get it right. I don't want to say it wrong. Order 66.
Execute Order 66.
He tried to kill all the Jedi. He made owning a lightsaber a crime. So that meant when you saw it, Vader had it. So if you saw a lightsaber in the Empire after New Hope, after Revenge of the Sith, it was Vader wielding it, and he was killing people with it, or he had it out there. I got to get my hands on that Vader comic book series, because it is awesome. So.
Oh, I have most of that. I can bring it to you.
Hey, thanks, Stacy. Stacy said, yeah, the blade. He was saying he gave you a pat on the back. Good effort.
Yeah, I see that. Now I'm trying to think of what the A for effort was.
Drop us a line there, Josh. Let us know what you were.
I can't remember where I messed up there.
Your Bane impersonation.
Oh, come on! That was good. That was good.
So then the crystals were used in the Death Star too. So that's one thing that comes out in the Force Awakens series. What was that?
That was me accidentally clicking on our video on Facebook. Okay. Sorry about that.
So the crystals were needed to make lightsabers across the galaxy, so no matter the planet they grew on, Darth Vader was...
He said Bane voice. Are you kidding me?
was specially dispositioned to wield this lightsaber. So, again, it was a crime. It was forbidden to trade the crystals, so they were pretty much sucked up by the Empire. Lightsaber blades are animated because the original special effects sucked.
Who has the whole, like, their work listening to this right now? Is it Stacy or is it is it Philip?
Phelps.
Oh, okay.
Phelps.
Well, Philip,
Matt Phelps.
pan your audience and see if my Bane was on point, because I feel like it was close. I've been working on that for like
Let me take the lid off my cup.
Hang on.
I'm just kidding.
I can do this. Give me something from Bane and I'll say it.
Look up a line.
Oh, I mean, I know all the lines. I'm just like, give me something random.
I got you. I see where you went with that.
Yeah.
Lightsabers aren't the only light weapons. There were pikes.
Hey, Darth Vader series was restarted recently.
Yeah, I know, and I want to get
again.
That. Yeah, the comic book. Yeah, I want to get that and start reading again.
How recently?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I have the one that started like 2 years ago. If it's more recent than that, I don't know about it.
Stacy would definitely know that one. Josh Stacy, how long ago did they restart?
Oh, he gave me kudos. All right. Well, thank you, by the way.
And Bane thanks you as well.
2 months. He said it was just restarted 2 months ago. So yeah, that's
really?
Right. Yeah.
Oh shit. No, okay. I haven't seen that one.
Definitely want to get on that. So,
I've been wasting all my money on computer accessories and trying to get this stuff to work than getting comics. I feel like a traitor.
Again, the lightsabers weren't the only light weapons. Force pikes are used by who? The Emperor's Guard. That's the dudes in the red standing by the door. That
what are they called? The Imperial Guards?
Yeah, the Imperial Guards. Yeah, they're in the full red, big. They look like a big crayon, kind of.
Yeah, the weakest characters on that Star Wars game on your iOS software.
Nice.
Have you played that, by the way?
No.
Star Wars Heroes?
Nope, I sure haven't.
Oh, you should.
Of course, they're double-bladed lightsabers. Darth Maul had wielded one of those. Darth Zana, who was Darth Bane's apprentice, wielded one. She used it in a swiping motion, so she could basically fight big guys that were powerful, and she could just keep knocking their blows off all day and just wearing those dudes out. So there are.
You got 2 comments here. You got Matt Felt said, "Pan the audience for what?" And I might have missed that. I hope I didn't say it because I was distracted. And then Josh Stacy says, "Very good series." And then also, sounds like you need a comic correspondent. Hint, hint.
We do need a comic correspondent, and we'll get you hooked up, Stacy. Phelps, we were wondering. You said that whoever has the people listening at work, just shoot us a comment.
Pan the audience. Yeah, pan the audience to see if my Bane was like close.
Yeah, let us know what they felt about Random's Darth Bane imitation.
Not Darth Bane, just Bane from Batman.
Yeah, Bane. Well, I'm talking about Darth Bane, so I'm getting.
Well, I know, but I was doing my best Tom Hardy. Man crush Monday through Sunday.
There are 7 forms of lightsaber combat. The first is called the Way of the Sarlacc. The second is called the Way of the Yasarmari, whatever. The third is the Way of the Minok. The fourth is the Way of the Hawkbat. The fifth is the Way of the Krayt Dragon. The sixth is the Way of the Rancor, and the seventh is
the Krayt Dragon. That's a burner.
Krayt
That's a
Dragon.
PUBG joke.
I got that one.
Sorry.
The seventh is the Way of the Vornsker, and that's the one that Mace Windu, a.k.a. Samuel Jackson, he uses. And one thing that people don't pick up on in Revenge of the Sith is Samuel L. Jackson actually had Palpatine defeated. The Emperor was defeated, and Palpatine had him, and Anakin helped kill. But maybe did he die when he fell off that after he got his hand cut off? Maybe. We don't know for sure. There's some speculation out there that he didn't die. So
Anakin?
No, not Anakin. Mace.
Who'd you say?
Mace.
Oh,
Mace
Mace.
Windu.
Oh, dude.
Actually,
Yeah,
defeated
all I'm hearing
Palpatine.
is like I'm hearing recently that Mace is Snoke. This has been all over like Star Wars.
There's been a lot of
conspiracy theories.com or whatever.
There's been a lot of that about who Snoke is. Felt says everybody said your Bane.
Him being...
Everybody at Feltz's work says your Bane imitation was good.
You cut out.
Everybody said that your Bane imitation was good.
Oh, well, thank you, everybody.
Feltz's work.
There's been a lot of people talking about the oh gosh, who
is
it?
Snoke?
Yeah, Mace Windu being Snoke, and I read one, and it kind of it makes a little bit of sense. And Sam Jackson's actually been back in the news talking about Star Wars again, and this, that, and the other. It wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me. And some of these can, like, maybe next time we get on here and do this, I'll pull one up and I'll read it for people. Like the best one that I found, I have it saved, but it's not on the computer I'm on. It's on my laptop. So I'll pull that up and read it and see what people think. But there was one that was very convincing. Has me believing that's who it is.
Right. So lightsabers can't cut through everything, and cutting off somebody's hand with a lightsaber is actually a technique. It's called...
They can't?
No, they can't. There are some materials that they cannot cut through. Darth Bane actually goes into one of these crypts, and they're like roaches, beetles, land on him, and they make this armor over him, and they use the Force, and you can't cut him with a lightsaber. He can't figure out how to...
What?
He can't get him off of him, but then he finds out he doesn't want to get him off because they like enhance his dark side power, but you can't cut him with a lightsaber. He has to actually wear this cage over his head so when he sleeps at night, they don't grow over his head and kill him.
So he's got a level 3 helmet.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sorry. Freaking PUBG's ruining my life right now.
The popular theory, and Felt says that the popular theory is that Snoke is an ancient Sith, and that's the one that I heard as well. And I want to say, let me look it up real quick.
Well, wouldn't that make sense based on the timeline?
Well, I want to say
Anakin is a child, or Anakin is I guess a moody tween, teen, whenever that happened. And then you got the whole Luke and Leia, and then that whole thing, and then they get older, and then now you got Kylo as a grown-up. That would kind of make, if it was Windu, that would kind of make him an ancient Sith.
Well, no, he wasn't that ancient, though. He's still we're talking Old Republic when you talk ancient, way back. And the theory is that it's Malik. May have been Raven.
Really?
But the theory is, and this is, spoiler alert, maybe not, again, it's a theory, that this Sith, the Knights of Ren, okay, remember the Knights of Ren that was talked about? Snoke talked about them, and Ben Solo, a.k.a.
Kylo
Ren, is the Knights of Ren leader. The Knights of Ren worship Snoke, and the theory is that Snoke was originally Malik and was placed in a locked up on this dark planet and his Force was masked and nobody could figure out where it was, and these guys, the Knights of Ren, worship him. They're like fanboys, basically, for lack of a better anything better.
Wait, you talking about Snoke was masked?
Yeah, he was encased in this, basically a tomb, and these Knights of Ren, they're fanboys, and they go find him, and then they break him out, and he uses these Knights of Ren, like the blind worship. They'll do anything for this guy, and he uses them, draws off their energy. They're like former Jedi, gray Jedi. They, like I said, become fanboys of Snoke, and so he uses them and their energy, and basically when they battle as Kylo Ren as their leader, he can use the Force and use them as pawns, almost like during Empire when Vader is throwing stuff at Luke. Kylo Ren can use it the same way, except they're people, and they can fight in battle, and he can basically throw, quote unquote use them against other people.
Hey, I think you just got past me there. You said Kylo Ren was throwing stuff at Luke?
No. Vader
Oh.
in Empire was. Remember the fight
Empire.
scene?
Oh my God! What am I? I'm reading and I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Yeah, in Empire.
I'm trying to like keep up here. I'll just be quiet.
In Empire, the fight scene between Vader and Luke when they're in the Wind City.
Yeah.
Vader's like ripping crap off the wall with the Force and throwing it at Luke, and
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So that's basically what Ren can do, is he can use the Force to manipulate those guys to go fight, a certain area, concentrate, flank, whatever. He can use them while he's battling as well. So he can wield them like a weapon. And they are like puppets. They're pawns. And again, they're fanboys of Snoke, and they are knights of Ren, and and Kylo Ren is the leader. He's the Kylo. That's just...
All right, now he's Scarface.
Yes, he's got a big old thing. So, good job on that, Phelps, by the way.
Yeah.
Where was I?
I think Stacy here believes that is with me on or is he Mace Windu?
I don't know. I just gave you one theory. I mean, could it be Mace Windu?
Next time I'll read you my theory. Like not my theory, the one I read that I believe.
Right.
I'll have that one readied up so I can read it.
Right. So, I mean, and then okay, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen The Force Awakens, first...
hang on, 5, 4, 3, turn it off, 2, 1, go.
Okay, slap yourself if you haven't seen The Force Awakens first.
Yeah, do that too.
But when I keep calling him Ben, when Kylo Ren and Han Solo are standing on that walkway just before Kylo skewers him with a lightsaber, he says he's afraid that Snoke's going to use him. That's what he's referring to as Snoke uses the Knights of Ren, like feeds off of them, feeds off their force to keep himself alive. And the longer next time when we see him,
big Sith Rens, or is it just Kylo?
This is the first mention of the Wrens. In the books that I've never read anything about the Wrens until The Force Awakens. But
Kylo.
I think they're backstoried in I believe you hear about them in this book, Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. Can you see that? There you go. I believe there's mention of them in here. And is this the one?
So there's more than one. Oh, okay.
No, this is not my autograph copy. I have an autograph copy by Claudia.
You haven't read this, or you have?
I have not read this one yet. This sucker is pretty fat.
Okay.
But I haven't read this one.
I'm just wondering if there's any more powerful Siths, such as Kylo.
There could be.
Or if they were...
That's the thing.
Padawan Siths that were coming up under him.
There could be more Siths out there, and there's always like Sith imposters, and in some of the Star Wars books they talk about those guys that they're kind of like acolytes. They use their power, and then another, like a stronger Sith, will find out about it or feel the use of the Force, and then they'll go execute that, because rule of two there shall be, and that's it. So there's a master and apprentice, and if somebody's out there playing Sith, they'll find out about it, and then they'll go kill them. So, but one of the things in the movie Force Awakens that everybody was like, well, how come when Rey grabbed that lightsaber, she like saw these flashbacks and all this stuff happen? Well, again, one of the theories is, and it really hasn't been quite explained well yet, and if anybody has another theory on it, put it in the chat, let me know about it. You did, Darth Conquest did say your Bane was pretty good, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you, Darth.
Yeah, and Wikipedia is, they're kind of battling the whole new stuff that's out now, and they're trying to stay in the old canon and not the new canon of Star Wars mythology. Yes, I called it mythology. I know it's not real as much as I want it to be real, but just kidding. But anyway,
sorry about that. I was telling my kid good night.
You're fine. Some people believe that when you're using your lightsaber, you have to use the Force, because you're trying to feel out what the other person is going to do, so you can counter. You make a Force bubble around yourself to help protect yourself. So you can, if you're getting packed into a wall, you feel the wall behind you, or they're trying to throw stuff, or they use force lightning. Anytime you're in a battle with your lightsaber, you're using the force. And so you kind of imprint, as a Jedi or as a Sith, you kind of imprint yourself on that weapon. Almost like with Harry Potter. If you remember Harry Potter, it says the wand chooses you. Well, each Jedi builds their own lightsaber. That's part of becoming a Jedi, becoming a Padawan, going through the training, is you build your own lightsaber. So when you build it, you imprint on it as well, so you're using the force. So whenever
hang on real quick, I gotta check something. I'll be right back.
Okay, so because she was so powerful within the force, when she picked up the lightsaber, that kind of awoke in her force abilities even more. She already had some, but it awoke in her force powers even more, and then she felt the imprint off that, which was Anakin and Luke, and then all those kind of mixed and mingled and became this huge rush of force emotions, if you will, and really and she felt that. So it was really powerful, because if you remember, Anakin killed the Padawans at the Jedi. At the Jedi Academy, he was really struggling between the light side and the dark side, and his emotions for Padme and what happened there. And then Luke was very emotional. If you think about it, he was up, he was down, he was kind of on an emotional roller coaster. So there's a lot of feelings and stuff that was imprinted in that lightsaber that they both used. Because remember, Obi-Wan gave it to him when him and Obi-Wan got back to the shack after the sand creature attack. So there's that. And again, that's why she was able to use the force and pull it away from Kylo when he was trying to use the force to grab it. She pulled it past him to her, because she basically already had kind of bonded with the force. So that's a theory behind that. That's one of the theories that I've read, and one of the theories that I support. So another question was coming up of why are Sith lightsabers red? In some of the earlier books that I read, is that they use synthetic crystals. While Jedi use natural crystals, the Sith mostly use a red hue synthetic crystals. Sith-made crystals create a slightly more powerful blade when energized by the dark side force. Sith lightsaber blades could break the blade of a Jedi saber, but such occurrences are very rare. So let's look into one of my favorite places, and apparently one of Darth Conquest's favorite places on the web, and that is Wikipedia. Wikipedia has a lot of stuff, so if you're interested in learning more about different aspects of Star Wars, they are there, and you can go look up all kinds of things. So let's
hand back. Sorry,
I figured that out. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks. Welcome back to the stream. Random.
Sorry, man.
Kids going to bed. It's cool, man. I understand. I think everybody else does too, especially those out there with kids. But so with this new set of comics that's coming out, just came out this last couple months, one of the things that they were talking about was Darth Vader's lightsaber. And if you're a Star Wars fan, go get this copy, because I'm going to go get it, and it looks really good. But he takes his lightsaber, the one that he builds as a Sith, it still has a blue blade, and he takes it into this dark energy place, and I want to say it's on the same planet where he lost his legs, and where he didn't
lava planet.
He didn't lose them. Yeah, Megiddo. I believe it's Megiddo. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, anybody, but I'm pretty sure it's Megiddo.
I don't remember.
He takes it into Megiddo, and he uses the force to separate all the parts, and then he pours all his emotion, hate, anger, pain, everything, and it corrupts the original crystal, and it basically turns it red. So, and then he puts it back together and it becomes red, and it's a very powerful blade. So mechanics and distinguishing features. Early Sith lightsabers were simply an improvement on the pre-existing proto sabers. We talked about that. The proto sabers were leaps and bounds ahead of the original lightsaber prototypes. They were unstable blades. They suffered from several issues regarding energy consumption. Remember, we talked about they needed a power pack. The Sith design introduced an internal semiconductor which transferred the returning looping energy from negative charge flux aperture. A lot of people, especially a lot of kids or a lot of people that don't know Star Wars, think that the blade is actually the force power going through them into the hilt and in through the crystal and then coming out as a blade. But that is, in fact, not true at all. So that's for those of you who are not huge Star Wars people. If you wonder what happened in Force Awakens, that's the theory, is that Luke and originally Anakin's blade, but then it became Luke's lightsaber, had been imprinted on them, or they had imprinted on it, and then when she picked it up, because she was or is powerful in the Force, it awakened her Force abilities, and that all came, the imprint from Anakin and the imprint from Luke, all that was rushing back. So,
we talking about Rey now?
Mustafar was the name, not Megito. My bad. Thank you for correcting me there, Darth Conquest. He had a message, but it was retracted.
Were you talking about Rey, or?
Yeah, we're talking about Rey and Force Awakens.
Okay, so you believe she's a Skywalker, not a Kenobi?
I don't know. What I'm saying,
I'm going with Skywalker. I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is, when she picked up that lightsaber,
she heard
it. Anakin's and Luke's. We already know that she had Force abilities.
And didn't they even mention in that movie like that, like nothing had happened with that in years?
It had been locked up for years, yeah.
But it called to her so that,
right. But
yeah.
Again, here's the thing: she has Force powers that she doesn't really know about. They're kind of dormant.
Oh, judging by the trailer, she's going to pick them up in this next one.
Right. But at that point, they're kind of dormant. And then when she feels the draw of the Force, she goes down there, and then when she actually picks it up, it like awakens her Force powers, but then she gets the Force imprint of Anakin and Luke that were on that blade. Because if you remember, Anakin killed all the Padawans. He went through a gamut of emotions, light side, dark side. He felt betrayed by the Jedi. He felt kind of betrayed by...
Yeah, then we got one of the worst lines in cinematic, or Star Wars cinematic history. No! Yeah, could have left that part out.
I know.
They could have left Revenge of the Sith out.
I know, I liked it, though. To me, everybody bags on the first three, or the prequels, or whatever you want to call them. But
the prequels.
I liked them. I
like the second one.
I think it went together. People hate it, and people don't like me because I say that I liked them, but I liked them.
I think Jar Jar.
Yeah, but every character had its place, and Jar Jar had his place in helping Palpatine become Palpatine, becoming the Emperor. So
so I got a question. I may have asked you this before, but I just actually don't remember the answer. Okay, so you got... I mean, you're still on here. You're kind of looking around. Well, just spitballing, just in case it's still going. When did the...
shut down.
Huh?
Yep. YouTube's completely shut down.
I'm still watching Facebook, though.
Okay.
Hey, guys, if you're on Facebook, just send a comment so we know you can still hear us. But I'm going to keep talking just in case we are still on here. And he'll work his way back in.
It says that I'm still streaming. Let me go check.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still watching. Like, I feel like lag time by now, you would have lost it.
Facebook still says that it's up. So we'll keep talking, and we'll wrap it up here in just a second.
So, the original trilogy, The 4, 5, and 6. Those came out what, the 80s?
A New Hope came out in 1976.
Oh, okay.
Or 77. 1977.
Close to the 80s. All right. So when did the book for episodes 1, 2, and 3 come out? Did they come out when corresponding with the movies, or did they come out beforehand and someone just adapted them?
I thought they came out after the movies.
See, that's something I don't know. I don't like, because you got episodes 7, 8, and 9, and I just don't want to go look for a book that's going to ruin The Last Jedi and then episode 9.
I don't know.
But I don't know if they exist. If you guys can still hear us on Facebook, and if you know the answer to this question, please let me know, because I don't want to look it up, because I don't want to spoil anything for myself.
The original 1976, it was supposed to be named Star Wars From the Adventures of Luke Skywalker. And then in 1970...
That was A New Hope?
Yeah, that became A New Hope. Then in 1978, a book came out called Splinter in the Mind's Eye. 1979, Han Solo at Star's End and Han Solo's Revenge.
Was that?
Those were books.
What'd those become, though?
Nothing. They were just standalone.
Oh, okay. That wasn't Empire and Jedi?
No, Empire came out in 1980, followed by a book, The Han Solo and the Lost Legacy. In 1983, Return of the Jedi came out, and then the Lando Calrissian books came out.
Hmm. So there's no... So the movies are coming out before the books. Like now. Maybe not then, but now. Like, because there's a Force Awakens book that I bought, that I have. I bought it with you, actually.
It came out after the movies. So I thought the books were coming out after the movies. But I could be wrong. I would hope that.
I was like, there's all this I was just sitting thinking, there's all this speculation, but if the books are already out, why don't we just go look at those?
No, there's a lot. Well, that's what they're saying. This book that I showed you, the one that Lost Stars, that has some clues in it to, like who are the Knights of Ren and who is Snoke, but they don't actually come right out and say. So,
gotcha. Hey, I'm not seeing any movement. I don't know if you still have your stream or not, so.
We may have lost it, but if we did, that's okay. I'm ready to,
we'll do a sign out. Come back next week.
Yeah, we'll go.
I'm recording it, so.
Yeah,
I mean, I can put it up.
I can put it up, so. Something just came across. Let me, get rid of that there. Oh, I gotta get rid of these lightsabers real quick off here as well. Hey, thanks everybody for stopping by the stream. Tonight was a really good one.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is the most interactive night we've had.
Yeah, and I like it a lot. So I'm glad everybody.
I'm glad everyone liked my Bane voice.
Came out.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug. So I hope everybody had as good a time as we did. I enjoyed it.
And hope everyone will join us back here next Thursday.
So, yeah, come back next Thursday. Come by Tuesdays. Check us out. Same time. Tuesdays, we play
PUBG.
Play Player Unknowns
with the Death Squad.
With the Death Squad. We've gotten...
Which is... Yeah, we got a lot of members now.
We got one...
We may have to do 2 streams. We get one more person. We got 2 full squads.
We got one chicken dinner, and then just actually Wednesday, the very next night, we got another chicken dinner. So
I was gonna say, I thought we had 2.
We're getting fat, and we like it. So hey,
fat my ass, man. Have you seen like people playing this? I will not call myself fat till I get 10.
There you go. So thanks again for stopping by, and hopefully we'll talk to you next time. I'll upload the stream, upload the video in case there was a break. But
yeah, and if you guys want to send us a message of anything you want us to talk about next time, something you like, any current event, it'd be a current event, not really political, but mostly just nerd based. We'll do some research and we'll talk about it. Just send us what you Well, your thoughts, what you want us to talk about.
Yeah, drop us a comment on Facebook, Darth Panisha, or Random Hero 83 on Facebook.
Gaming.
Oh, gaming, my bad. Random Hero 83 Gaming on Facebook and YouTube. Darth Panisha on YouTube as well. Or Darth Panisha at gmail.com or Random Hero 83 Gaming
no, just Random Hero 83 at gmail.com.
Just Random Hero 83 at gmail.com. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you want to discuss, and we're going to have another Star Wars segment. We'll talk some more about something different.
Weekly segment now, right?
It's going to be a weekly segment. This week was about lightsabers. Next week I'll come up with something else.
Next week he's going to try to defend himself against me saying Star Trek is worthy of being in the same conversation as Star Wars.
And with that, we're going to leave.
I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying it's close.
We'll discuss it. There's always the battle of which is better, best, and all that fun stuff. So everybody have a good night. Have a great weekend.
Stay safe. Love each other. Come back and see us.
Nerd love, and we'll see you next time.
Night.